To quote Alanis Morissette, "Why are you so petrified of silence? Here, can you handle this?"
Today on Honestly, Dear Listener, we're talking about what happens when we deprive ourselves of other people's words.
Spoiler, it sucks.
We're two childhood best friends talking about creative mindset.
I'm Emily Hatch.
And I'm Carrie Schaefer, and this is Honestly, Dear Listener.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo!
1, 2, 3, fun.
Go.
Be funny.
Uh,
Be full of fun.
yeah. Emily and I have decided we need fun today. Well, I decided that I need fun today.
I
And
agreed.
yes. Okay, so we decided we needed fun today.
But we have no idea how to make it happen, so
Right.
we just decided to hit record.
Good thing you clicked on this podcast.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, be fun now.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we need some fun because we're in that week of the artist's way where you can't do social media and you can't read.
Okay. So to fill everyone in, Emily and I are facilitating a course right now called The Artist's Way. If you don't know what it is a book by Julia Cameron. She wrote it in the 80s/90s, and it is like a cult favorite for artists becoming unblocked, for artists who want to get to know their creative identities. It's been like her seminal work on all of that. And so it's 12 weeks of going through doing morning pages, which are like diary entries and taking yourself out for a weekly artist date. And she also has all these prompts to write about. And this week, we discovered that this is the week of reading deprivation.
Which pisses me off because Carrie's done this before and she didn't warn me about this week.
I forgot all about it. I forgot all about it because I never did it. I was always like, all right, Julia, whatever. I'm not stopping reading. I'm not doing it. What, you want me to hold my breath for a week? It can't be done. So will you explain the concept, Emily, of reading deprivation?
Stop doing it. Basically, stop filling the silence with other people's words. And because most of us are like, our creativity is having a lid put on it, and that lid is like other people's art and other people's work and other people's words. So you have to just be alone with your creativity and your thoughts and like make your things, is the idea, I guess. And when this was written, obviously there wasn't social media. So she says stuff like the radio, and I have to listen to music. I have literally like 30 songs I have to learn this week. I'm not exaggerating. So I will be listening to that because that's my work.
Right.
And she literally was like, you don't need to do your college reading or your work reading. Everyone's weaseled their way out of their assignments for a week before. And I'm like, I'm
What?
sorry, what are you talking about? I get the concept that, think about social media. When do you get on it? A lot of the time when sometimes it's mindlessly. It's when you're like bored and your brain doesn't have something to do. You open your app and you watch other people make stuff.
Yep.
So not having the availability to watch other people's art. So that's like TV and books and social media, because I do believe that social media is an art form for the person that's posting, right? None of that. So I have opened my app like 10 times and been like, what is going on? Nope, I can't watch other people make stuff. I have to do it myself. It's quiet over here. And by that, I mean it's fucking loud over here. Like,
Yeah, what is that about?
so it's quiet on the outside. The inside is like, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not finding any brilliance among the blah, blah, blah. It's all just like, oh my God, you should quit this. You should do this thing. Why don't you do that? Why don't you understand this thing? Like, it's it's not like a song or a story to write.
I would
It's
say
just
that understanding that maybe quitting a job and opening yourself up to other experiences instead is seems to me like that's pretty brilliant.
yeah, but it's brutal is what I'm saying. What's going
Right.
on in your
I just want that sound on repeat. I want that to be your ringtone in my phone. Uh-huh. Okay, so yes. So for me, I don't do social media and haven't for a couple of months now because I couldn't be trusted with it. Meaning that it was filling so much of my day that I was becoming very unhappy about that. And so I haven't done it in a while, but I do listen to music, I do read, and I do a lot of audiobook listening. Like, if there's any quiet in my day, any space at all, I am listening to an audiobook or a
Mm,
podcast or having some kind of audio input happening at me all the time. And I kind of have been getting curious about what that is because I'm like, what the idea of not doing any of that anymore.
mm,
My first thought was, what do I do with myself?
mhm,
Like, what, I'm just supposed to be alone in here
mm,
without anything? And then I was like, "Is that so bad?" And I was like, "Yes. I mean, no. I mean, I don't know." So then I thought I went through and I tried to bargain with myself. I was like, "I can read if" I don't even remember what my bargains were. They were pretty weak. And yeah, so it's a lot of me being like, "What about if I just nap?" I'll just nap all the time. I
mm,
just won't be awake for this part. And then I'm like, okay, that's another form.
mm,
You're doing the same thing. That falls in that category. You are numbing instead of, because the whole idea of this whole exercise is get to know what you really think. Like she says in the book, there are thoughts, public thoughts and feelings. And
mhm,
then there's like the thoughts and feelings we really have. Like officially, here's where I stand on this. But
mm,
like then if you really looked inside, you'd see, oh, I mean, those are my public and official thoughts and feelings, but how I really feel is very different. So she's
mm,
trying to show us places where we have not had the most integrity. Integrity as defined by you are the same on the inside as you are on the outside.
mhm.
So
Hmm,
your official thoughts and feelings, I think she would probably argue, would match your inner thoughts and feelings.
hmm,
I had a really I still kind of have a bad attitude about it, Emily.
mm. Yeah, same-ish. I don't know. I think I'm kind of a little excited,
Uh-huh. I
which
get that too.
is yeah, I mean, that being said, I'm not fully obeying. I'm like 90%
Wait,
obeying.
what are you 10% disobeying on?
Well, because I have to listen to this music.
Oh,
But
but
that
that's
being
not
said, it
disobeying. That's
doesn't
your job.
it doesn't feel like a privilege to listen to all this disco music that I have to learn. I love disco, but it feels stressful. This is like a lot to do. I'm also listening to the rest of an audiobook, which is only like an hour, that my business coach, who was on last week's podcast, Gemma, recommended that I listen to. And I kind of need to because I'm kind of paying her kind of a lot of money and I need to do my stuff.
That makes sense.
Um, I also need to cut the social media clips of our podcast last week, which I have not done yet, and post them. Now, the tricky thing for me with that, so that's cheating, but it's necessary. The tricky part for me is going to be not obsessively checking the
Mm,
um the reactions to said clips because of all the episodes we've done, not to like be mean to other episodes, but I think of all the episodes we've done, this last week was my favorite. I'm like really excited and I think everyone needs to hear it. the
It's the one with
most.
Gemma Sucru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I want to see people seeing the clips that I'm making and be like, "Did you listen to it?" Like, so I think that's gonna be hard. But anyway, otherwise, those are the ways that I'm, in air quotes, cheating, but it doesn't feel like, I mean, Corey and I are both doing this. We haven't watched TV. Corey looked at social media this morning. I'm telling on him. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Corey!
but he stopped.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's just, this is weird in the silence. And we talked about this on an episode actually a couple months ago of like doing less to do more and
Mhm.
like really getting quiet and listening. And this is like an extreme version of that. Um I wonder if our listeners do this ever. Like,
Yeah.
do you guys just deprive yourself of things? Have you ever heard of sensory deprivation caves
Yes. Well,
or
they
like
have them. I don't
baths?
know. I don't I haven't heard of the caves, but I've heard of the pods.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
I decided it's a cave. That feels cool.
Oh, yeah, that'd be way cooler. But, like, explain what they are for all the people that don't know what they are.
So from what I understand, I've never done one. It's like this weird saltwater kind of thing, and you lay in there and you just float, so you don't have to do anything because the density of the water just like holds you up.
That's so
And
weird.
it's completely dark and completely silent, and you just lay in there. And that sounds terrifying to me. But my friend Kenny swears by it for like when he's blocked with something and like has to come up with a bunch of ideas. He said that that's like the ultimate idea space.
Does he go in there to think, or does he go in there to, like, meditate and empty?
Both. It's like with the emptiness comes like a rush of ideas.
Oh, interesting. That's
So,
how I feel about showers.
me
Even though
too.
it's nothing like what you're talking about other than the fact that there's a water component.
But you can't do
Um,
anything else.
yeah. I mean,
I mean, I guess you can listen to music, but like I never do that.
right.
It's like a very like white noise sound. You can't
Mhm.
write anything down. You can't like do anything but stand there, right? I think that's sensory deprivation.
Yeah. I mean, I hear from so many people that their best ideas happen in the shower.
And that happens to me too. I'll be like, "Oh, this is the answer." Like
Uh-huh.
in the shower. Yeah, and I think the sensory deprivation pod just sounds terrifying to me, but I think it would be like a supercharged version of a shower,
Mhm.
except like scared and claustrophobic. Just kidding.
Hmm.
Maybe though.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah. Remember we were going to be fun this episode. Let's talk about claustrophobia.
Fine. We're so fun.
Sensory
Um
deprivation. Why are you still looking at social media? But like just poorly timed drums.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yes, this week we are doing um reading deprivation. What else is anything coming up for you that has been like a mind blow of new thoughts?
I'm really stoked about the fact that this is helping me, this and the other things I'm doing, value myself more.
Mm.
And I'm noticing that I'm valuing myself more because of how enraged I'm getting when I feel like I'm not being valued. And it's helped me to hear that voice being like, "Don't you know who I am?" And so it helps me to know there's a version of me in there that really is excited about the future and thinks that I can do some cool shit. Um, and that feels like a game changer for me.
Mhm.
Like take no shit is like even even from myself is starting to like raise up in me.
Ooh.
Um That's a really cool thing that I feel like is coming, and it's making me excited for the future and, like, the things I can do. Um, yeah. What about you? Anything other than anger for
I
you?
think it's been a lot of, especially in my morning pages, which like I said earlier is another thing that Julia Cameron says to do every day is sit down and either type or hand write out 3 stream of consciousness pages a day.
Mhm,
And so what's been coming out is a lot of childhood stuff of like this hurt and this was stupid and why was this like this? And I've been reprocessing a lot of those things.
mm,
Kind of like what we said a couple of episodes with dreaming about houses and things.
mhm,
I've just been revisiting those things. I've also seen how much of my relationship with my children who are still at home, um, I when I'm at home, I fill the times with so many audiobooks that I feel a lot like when they interrupt me, as they're going to do because they're children and I'm one of their leaders and they want to know what the plan is. I'm always like, ah, what? Instead of being like, "Whoa, dude, your audiobook comes 2nd or 3rd or 4th down the list, or maybe we
mm,
shouldn't be listening to this right now because this is not conducive. This environment is not conducive for that." Like, put book reading and audiobook listening where it goes,
mhm,
because I so desperately want to stay in that world of whatever I'm reading about that I'll let it bleed into other parts of my day. So
mhm,
without that, I'm like, "Oh, this is what this feels like to not be frustrated when my because my children are interrupting me in this book world."
mm,
Like,
mhm.
I'm just naturally a part of their lives. Not that I wasn't before, but I
I know what you
definitely I mean, I read, I think it's, like, between, like, 50 and 60 books a year,
wow.
and the reason why I do that is because I love reading, number 1, but number 2, like, I use it as an escape.
Mm,
I'm like, "What are you escaping from?" I don't think escapism is bad, but I think everything in balance, right? So if I'm using something that's awesome and good, like reading a novel, to replace parts of my life that I find are not quite as interesting because they're of their constantness. You know, being a mom is constant.
mhm,
I love my kids. I think they're awesome. I think they're interesting, but there is a sort of kind of monotony that comes with raising kids and having a family and family life that I find I want to transcend that regularly. And I don't
mm,
think that that's bad if it's put in its correct timing and place. So kids aren't here, they're at school. I'm going to sit down and have an hour for reading. Cool. That sounds appropriate. You're making dinner and they keep asking you about homework questions while you're trying to listen to a book. Probably not the best time to be doing that because you know that they're going to keep interrupting you. So, like,
mm.
it's almost like I'm more of a participant in my own life. And I'm realizing that now that I can't do this thing that I love to do.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is huge. I feel like the social media piece of things fills the silence for me,
Hmm.
and I get lost in there, and how much time I'm really like, see, this is hard for me. I've been scared for this because I resent having to work harder. Like, I feel like this sounds weird, but I feel like if I don't do the things that I feel like are escape for me, then I can be more productive.
Hmm.
But I don't want to be more productive because I resent having to work hard all the time. So the only time I will like deprive myself of things that help me numb out or relax is so that I could be more productive. Not so that I could actually like make space just to make space. Does that make sense? It's like,
Mhm.
oh, you could do so much more if you weren't doing this. And so not doing that makes me feel like I have to work.
Instead?
Mhm. Does that
So,
make sense, like, the way I said it? Basically,
are you saying are you saying that either it's work time or playtime? So if I'm not playing or escaping, naturally I would instead be working and I don't
yes.
wanna work more?
Yes, and I don't think that social media is actually play. I don't think
Mhm.
TV is actually play.
Agreed.
I don't think having a couple cocktails is actually play.
Mhm. Play seems more active than that, right?
I mean, it feels like a different form of self-care to a degree, and none
Mhm.
of those things are self-care,
Mm.
and they're not even really rest, right?
Mhm.
So, I'm afraid I don't know what to do in there because normally when I take those things away, it's because I have to be productive.
Mhm. Okay.
So I, like, don't wanna do that, and I'm, like, rebelling against it because I don't know what I do instead.
Right.
I would just work because I have so much work that I should be doing all the time that
Right.
I'm always running at a deficit on time.
Right.
So, yeah, I think
So,
this is gonna I part of me is, like, excited to continue to do some of this after this week.
yeah. What do you think you will keep doing after this week, specifically?
I think I need to be more conscious of my time on social media. I think that's mostly it. And TV,
Yeah.
because I think I could just rest. Like, I could go for a walk. I could make dinner with my husband, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to continue to limit those, like, numbing times. I just don't want to have to be active entirely either, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, because like we were saying, play is active,
Hmm.
work is active. So if you're not playing and you're not working, what is restful?
Exactly. I don't know how to rest.
Mm, yeah. How do you, cuz my husband doesn't know how to rest either.
Hmm.
How do you and it's because he's like you, he's so driven and he's like really excited about making the, oh, I'll make this, now I'll make that. And da, 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 da. But like how do you teach someone how to rest that is driven?
If I knew, I wouldn't be a crazy person. Because I really don't know. I don't know how. Because every time I'm, like, alone with my thoughts, I'm like, "Ooh, let's start a business." Like, "What? Stop." Like, "Oh,
Right.
you know what would be really great? If you did this thing." Like, "No."
So I think the things, because I'm just going to tell you right now, going forward from this little experiment of deprivation, I have no intention of quitting reading whatsoever.
That would be weird.
It
Like,
would be
you're a
weird.
writer who quit reading.
Right. And I don't think that that's what Julia Cameron is advocating for. I don't think she's like, everything you do except for creating is bad. I think that it's more like recognize your own voice in your own head. And one way to do that is to cut out anything that isn't your own voice. And
Mm,
I get that. So with that, I am definitely going to pick up reading, but I want to keep reading where reading belongs, and I want to take it out of the places where it does not belong,
mm.
like family interactions and, you know, those kinds of things.
What
Yeah.
about you, listener? Are you gonna try? Do you guys wanna do this weird thing where you just stop all input for a few days?
Oh, Lord.
Do you wanna try it? It's weird over here.
You know, it's kind of weird. And we talked about this a little bit the other day, Emily, you and I, is that like, what are we left with? all this time to make things. Ugh. You know, it's like we've been wanting all this time to make crap. And here we have it and we're like, what do I do? It's almost like being obsessed with a celebrity. This is probably a terrible, it's probably nothing like this, but go with me. It's like
Okay, I'm
being
here.
obsessed with Johnny Depp, right? And then you meet Johnny Depp and you think, "Oh, if I ever meet Johnny Depp, I'm gonna have all these questions. I'm gonna have all the I have so much to say to him. I have so many questions. Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing." Then you meet Johnny Depp and you're like, "Wow, after all this time, I finally met you, and now I have nothing to say." I feel like that's kinda what it's like with art. It's like you
Mm.
realize stop romanticizing the art and just do it.
Ew. Yeah.
I know,
If
but
only
why.
I had the time. If only I had the time. And now you have the time, and all you want to do is like be on your phone.
Yes. I'm thinking about, remember, did you ever do the 40-hour famine growing up?
No, but I heard about it. I forget what it even is. I feel like I might have blocked it out.
Well, that's good. So Emily and I grew up evangelical Christian, fundamentalist, if you didn't know that from our previous episodes. And our faith tradition had this thing called the 40-hour famine, where in order to like get closer to God and I guess understand the plight of starving people around the world, which seems very, very out of touch and tone deaf. We didn't eat, and we're talking like middle school, late elementary school, high school students that are like need to eat. You know, like everyone needs to eat, but like these people are growing like bodies, brain tissue, and like,
Mm-hmm.
really important stuff. So we agreed not to eat for 40 hours. And um during those 40 hours, all I thought about was food. I like didn't care two shits about food in my regular life, but all of a sudden for those 40 hours, all I was like, it was like, "Oh, if only I could have a tuna sandwich." What? Okay. Anyway, that's how I feel. And
Mm.
I'm trying to not miss the point.
By like just lusting after books.
Right, exactly. I'm like, "Okay, listen and learn from this. Like tune into what's going on." But yeah, that's a little what it feels like, but also I relate to what you said earlier about like, yeah, I kinda have a bad attitude, but like I'm also kind of excited because I'm curious. I'm
Mm.
curious, like, what's gonna come up? Like, I
Mm.
feel like as a 40-year-old, I am a mystery to myself even.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the coolest things about life is that you get to be an adventurer in your own life to yourself, and you're exploring your own self,
Mm.
and finding things about ourselves that we didn't know before is exciting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of stoked.
Yeah.
It's just weird, like being like kind of out of control of myself. I'm like, I wonder what I could do. Like,
Uh-huh.
I literally could choose, but I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, that's that's weird.
Uh-huh.
Like, you could pick. You could be like, in this time, I'm going to do this, but no. Instead, I'm like, who's coming out of here? Like, I don't know. It's
Uh-huh.
strange.
I walk around my whole studio and I'm like, I could play the ukulele, which I've done a couple of times. But then I'm like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and I feel overwhelmed by the possibilities that I end up not doing anything.
This is how I've lived the last year of my life, I think.
Mhm. Well, and
I
I would
mean,
imagine especially living in a city like New York, my gosh. There's
mhm.
like so much to do.
Yeah, it is, they call it paralysis by analysis. I think it's like,
Ah.
I could do, I could do, I could do, I could do, I could do. I'm tired. Like,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah. So what have you been doing? Working?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And crying and
Crying?
yeah. Oh, you mean just this year or this last couple days?
This last couple of days.
Same thing. Yeah. Not a lot of
Ah,
crying, less crying than usual, but yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We can talk about the crying later if you
This
want.
is the fun episode, you idiots. No.
Man! It's
I was calling myself idiots, by the way.
I am more than one idiot.
Yeah. Half of my personalities are real dumb. Um,
Ugh.
so yeah, remember I was talking about valuing myself and how that's coming up a lot for me?
Mhm.
Half of me is not idiots.
But the other half is.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, man.
It's just I'm okay.
I'm also doing a lot of home projects. You know, like all the stuff in the corners that you're like, "I'll deal with that sometime." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Well, I guess I can deal with it now."
She
And
says
but
that in the book too. She's like, "You'll arrange your furniture." I've actually been seeing people more.
you have?
Yeah, I mean, it just so happened that we had friends in town from Nevada, and they stayed with us on Sunday night. And then um, I had a friend be like, "I have to tell you some stuff. Come over," last night. So I guess I've been seeing people more, but then also like working and then feeling guilty for not working enough. That's mostly what
Yeah.
I've been doing. So normal.
Do you think if you had a job that required like 40 hours a week and that's all it required, that you would feel guilty when you weren't working?
Yeah, because I am so internally motivated. Like the I don't know if it's by just shame or a collection of things, but I have to accomplish stuff in my life. And that part of me is like a little meth addict that just like never sleeps. And it's just like
Mm.
go, 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 go. Gotta make a thing, gotta make a thing. Hey, like after I mean, I've had 40-hour week jobs. And then
Mhm.
I get off work and I teach voice or I am in a show or I'm writing something or like parenting my child actively or like, we're going to play games and we're going to go do this stuff. Like I have goals. So it's like my work is like what makes me money work. And then there's also the work that I want to be doing that never stops.
Mm. So, like, if you, let's say you won $500 million
Hmm.
tomorrow,
Hmm.
um, what what would that change for you in terms of your relationship with work or your drive, or would it?
I think it would make it so that I could get a lot more like, I don't want to do this, like, and I don't have to force myself to do it. Because I take right now, I've filled a lot of my time with projects I think I kind of have to do that seem to sort of be in line with what I want. I would drop all of those things. I would like hire people to babysit me to make sure that I do my stuff. Um,
Ooh, that
I
sounds
would,
actually great.
yeah, I would like, so, okay, I thought about this a lot because I do plan on someone just handing me $5 million or
Of
something.
course.
Um, so I would um, quit all my dumb jobs I don't like, and I would hire someone to like a dietitian, like a nutritionist, and then build that out with someone who like brought me the food that I need. I would hire a personal trainer and I would like do that stuff in the morning. And then I would hire a coach or two to help me build a successful thing where I actually finished shows and I would produce shows and I would like that's what I would do. Like I would follow that path to the bitter end and see what happens over there. And then if that's not the thing, I would like get into comedy more and hire a comedian coach and like do all that. That's what I would do. I would work. I just would only work doing the things that my soul is like, go there, do that thing. What would you do if someone handed you $5 million
I
or
really do.
500 million?
500 million. 5
That's
million In this
Chump
day and
change.
age, yeah, I feel like doesn't get you as far as it used to.
It's very
But
true.
500,000,000,
Yes.
that's a different conversation. So, I hadn't thought about that, but I really love your idea of having a babysitter, like a minder that's like, okay. And because where I struggle in all of this is feeling connected. This podcast helps me a lot to feel connected so that I'm not, because if I know that you are having some of the same struggles and you're over there and you're in the arena, as Brene Brown would say, and you're doing the hard work and you're fighting for to make things that light you up,
Mhm.
that is motivating and inspiring to me.
Mm.
So, I don't see how a babysitter would do that. I would hire a babysitter that was also an artist, but like somebody that was very, very, very organized
Mhm.
and was like, "Hey, I am basically your right-hand gal. Like in rap songs, how they have the person at the beginning that's like, yo, yo,
Your hype man?
yeah, yes, it's DJ Carrie." Oh gosh, I feel so stupid saying that. You guys don't quote me on that,
You
okay?
would hire a Flava Flav?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Somebody that could be like, yo, here we are. Here she is. She's doing the stuff. She's doing great. Like somebody that's going to hype me up, that's going to inspire me. But then I think, why do I need all of that? Like, where can I find that in my actual life? Like,
Mm.
you know?
I mean, I think body doubling, as they say with, like, work is a big thing, and I think that that can be like, so body doubling, my understanding is, like, a person you'd, like, get more done when there's someone there.
Yeah.
Kinda like when you would come over and sit in my room while I clean my room,
Mhm.
um, but, like, for creativity. So I would have, like, buddies, and then I
Mhm.
would have, like, a coach that I meet with a couple times a week, maybe,
Yeah.
So I could be like, okay, I have this other friend who's doing this thing too. Or maybe you could, like, I had $500 million, so I could make it so that you weren't worried about money either. And then we'll just
Mhm.
be buddies
Yeah.
and, like, make stuff. And then if shit doesn't go right, it doesn't matter as much because it wasn't like, oh, I made this show and it lost money. Like, who gives a shit, you know?
Would we really be like, who gives a shit?
I mean, no, but less like if it flops, I'm not like, I just sunk $100,000 into
Right.
this production and now I have to file bankruptcy. It'd be
Right.
like, oh,
Yes.
that $100,000 didn't work. What do I have to do? What do I need to learn to make this not suck next time?
Right.
I mean, I would like, that would be so fun. Hire like marketing people and like, yeah,
We should do a
I
whole
would.
episode on this. Like, if I had $500,000,000, how
If
would that
I
change?
had $500 million.
Yeah. How would it change my art? How would it change? And then what can we take from that and do it now in like
Mhm.
little ways? Obviously, we're not able to like quit our jobs necessarily or
Yeah. Get
whatever.
Kybella for
Right.
my double chin. I can't afford to do that, which would make my art way better, but
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Mhm.
Yes. A different chin. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a less chin, really.
Ah.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
can't do that. But what could I do to make my
right.
art better?
Because I kind of suspect that actually there is probably things we could do now that we thought we couldn't do unless we had a lot more money or time.
Mhm.
We probably have more access to the things that we could do now to make making art better, easier, whatever. We just don't
Ew.
do them. I
Ew.
know. I know. I know.
That's probably a couple episodes from now because I'm gonna have to like get over being pissed about you even saying that right now.
Sorry. I didn't
Um,
mean to. I,
one of my friends, like, that I talk to quite often, who I really respect and adore and love, and he does amazing things. He has very strong opinions about the things people are doing and he's right about them. He's like a producer, director, writer person. He's amazing. I'm like, okay, if you were to just flat out tell me something that's kind of harsh, but you want me to know, what would it be? And he said that you don't need to wait till you have like money or some like grand thing to just make your stuff. Like,
Mhm.
stop waiting because you're wasting time, basically.
Let's stop waiting, Emily. I mean, like, we're already kinda dabbling in it, but,
Hmm.
like ooh, I like
Yeah.
that face.
You guys are missing it on this podcast if you're listening. I have a great flared nostril face. My nostrils get like twice the size of their normal, like my nose itself. There's a long
Wait,
way
do
to
it.
go there.
Relax it. Now flare it.
And this is my like plastic surgery lip injection face. Are you ready?
Yeah. Kills me. You look like a totally different person to me.
Do I?
I
That's
think you do.
interesting. Hmm.
Oh, man.
Okay, sorry.
Well,
Sorry,
s
listeners. All right.
this is
That was the fun part of our episode. It only took us 40 minutes to get there.
and now it's over.
And now it's done. I hope you had fun.
Bye. Oh,
All
okay,
right. So
Emily.
this is what happens when your brain wanders.
Seriously, like, I feel like we've been all over the place today, and it's just because we can't do what we wanna do. Thanks, Julia Cameron.
Yeah. What did Corey call her? Beverly Buttface.
Yeah.
He's so mad that he like can't watch TV or do anything. He was like, because Beverly Buttface said I can't do this.
He also said something the other day in reference to the morning pages because he was rebelling against them, and said, "I'm the boss of me, not me." Because you rebel against your own self when you do the pages, and you're only hurting yourself, but, like, why?
Yep. And it was it you that said, oh, maybe he was like, maybe I wouldn't hate it so much if it was called something cool,
Uh-huh.
like rage on the page.
Rage on the page. Yep, that's what I've been doing is some raging on the paging.
Paging.
Paging. All right, dear listener.
We
Hopefully
hope you listen to us next week. It'll be okay.
it,
It'll
it's it's gonna get better. I know the show might have been a little rocky today, but please just stick with us. Just know we're going through our own journey. You're going through your own journey. We're all journeying together.
We're all doing it. And should you choose to deprive yourself of art, of the other people's art for a short period of time, will you DM us? We won't be allowed to check it this week, but
Thanks,
DM
Julia.
us. Beverly Buttface says we
Yep.
can't check it, but you should let us know how it goes.
Yep. Yeah, if you're interested, I know we sold the book amazingly this week. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Pick up your copy of it. It's been life-changing for us. And I
It
do mean
actually
that
had,
seriously,
yeah.
but like it's just this week. Just anyway. All
All
right,
right.
listener. Until next week.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo!
What do you think about your bills, your ex, your deadlines? When you think you're gonna die?